Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The source of this information comes from the smart device application, Today in History, What Happened Today in History, Historical Calendar, and the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar of the description below. Anyway, I am Mayo Xander, and today is Freya's Day, also known as Friday, October 28th, 2022. I have yet to pick up a pumpkin and candy for Halloween, so I gotta get on that, like, right now. Anyway, before I get on that, let's move on up into the history, shall we? Starting us off in the year 306, Maxentius was proclaimed Emperor of Rome. And he lost his nose. And it looks like he's in the middle of dying with his eyes way up there. What's going on? Is he Krillining? Anyway, 6 years later, in 312, Emperor Constantine the Great defeated rival Maxentius at the Battle of the Milvian Bridge. So that's why. Okay, well that explains why he lost. He has no nose. You know, if there's one thing we ever learned from Dragon Ball Z, it's bad guys always don't have a nose. They're always weaker. You know, like well, not just from that, but Harry Potter. You know, Voldemort. You know, like it's a multi-platform thing stereotype. If you have no nose, you're either a bad guy or you're weak. Anyway, moving on up into 1216, Henry III, at the age of 9, was crowned King of England at Gloucester Cathedral after the death of his father, King John. This was his second coronation. Oh, well, no, his second coronation was 4 years later in 1220. Huh. I didn't know you did multiple coronations for a king. I thought it was just a one and done. But, well, I guess 4 years later he'd be 13, so guess older. Like, I don't know. In the year 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and he sighted Cuba and claimed it for Spain under the name Juana. Huh. Don't you wanna marijuana? We got an appointment of interest here in 1612. Robert Dowlin was appointed court lutist of King James I. Okay, I guess like the lute, you know, so I guess he was just playing a guitar, you know, part of the entertainment. 1720, why can't I read? 1726, Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift was published by Benjamin Motte in London. All right. I've not read the book, but I've seen two renditions of the movies at least. The old one and then the one with Jack Black. 1776, Battle of White Plains. George Washington retreated to New Jersey. That's unfortunate. But you can't win them all. Well, here, let's see here. In 1790, New York gave up claims to Vermont for $30,000. So I did not know they had Vermont, so that's interesting. Then 3 years later, in 1793, Eli Whitney applied for a patent on the cotton gin, which a lot of people incorrectly assume that was the beginning of the end for slavery. No, it actually expanded on it hard because you started producing more cotton. You want more, more slaves to pick the cotton. You know, like you have a faster and more efficient way. Like it just blew up. So the majority of the consensus of the cotton gin is actually invalid and polar opposite of what it really did. 1811, the first known purchase of Jane Austen's novel Sense and Sensibility by the Prince Regent, later George IV, a fan. Huh. Okay. So King George the Fourth. Was she British? Yeah, she was English. Okay, that makes sense. Because I was like, if she was an American, then he would not be a fan, I guess. But anyway, 1831, Michael Faraday demonstrated his dynamo invention, the electric generator, or unelectric generator. So that is really a dynamo invention. Like, that stuff changes, like it changed the entire world. So, which by the way, the Romans were right on the cusp of inventing steam technology. They technically invented the first steam engine, but it wasn't used for propulsion. It was just used for a curiosity. But they actually, like, the physics of it was essentially the same thing as steam tech. They had water in the cylinder, and they had like two little like pipes coming out, pointing opposite directions, and then they boiled the water in the sphere, and it spun around. And that was 2,000 years ago or something. So technically the first steam engine. So they were on the verge of the Industrial Revolution, um, give or take, but that was slightly before their downfall. But anyway, moving on up into 1856, French magician Jean-Eugène Robert Houdin performed for Algerian marabouts in Algeria to convince them that French magic is the stronger. Okay. So you're saying that French people are more illusional? That's not really a good thing. In 1886, the Statue of Liberty was dedicated by U.S. President Grover Cleveland, celebrated by first confetti ticker tape parade in New York City. Oh, look at that! So the first, so this was dedicated, and then the first ticker tape parade happened. That's really cool. Then we got a music premiere in 1893. Piotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky conducted first performance of his Symphony No. 6 in B minor, Pathetique, in St. Petersburg, Russia, 9 days prior to his death. Wow, that must have been a heartbreaking thing. Go to a guy's concert, and then a week and change later he dies. So that's not good. 1894, German Emperor Wilhelm II fired Chancellor Leo von Caprivi and Premier Botho zu Eulenburg. All right. And holy mustaches. If his face could fold in on itself, he can poke his eye out with those things. Look at that. Like, those things are tusks. Looks like a warthog or a puma. 1915, Richard Strauss's Alpensymphonie premiered in Berlin. All right. 1918, Republic of Czechoslovakia was created with Thomas Masaryk as its first president. Oh, look at that. I guess Czechoslovakia was created after World War I. That would make sense. A lot of those European countries switched borders, entire nations dissolved, other entire nations came to be. Like for example, the Ottoman Empire becoming Turkey. Moving on up into the year 1919, the Volstead Act passed by U.S. Congress, establishing prohibition despite President Woodrow Wilson's veto. And yes, prohibition led to the outbreak of organized crime in the States, with famous people like Al Capone, 1922, Italian fascists conducted the March on Rome, leading to the assumption of power by Benito Mussolini. Yep. This is when they took power. Oh, that's actually... wow. 100 years ago on this day is when that happened. And then look at the world today. The more things change, the more things stay the same. It's really frightening. Anybody who knows a lick about history, looking at current events is probably just collectively shitting their britches, because we know what's coming up next. 1924, miner M.D. Brulin discovered the infant fossil skull Taung child in a lime quarry in Taung, South Africa. Paleoanthropologist Raymond Dart identified the fossils as a new hominin species, Australopithecus africanus. Oh, all right, that's cool. Taung child. Let me see if I can find this. Taung child. Images. Oh, this one. Okay. Dang. Yeah, so it looks like a part of the skull has been destroyed. Yeah, like the back half right here. Huh. Anyway, let's move on up. In 1927, Josip Broz Tito began 7 months jail sentence in Croatia. Good. Anybody who was actually, no, not good. He was a revolutionary. I don't know. I don't know enough about this guy to say good or bad. Usually people end up in jail for reasons, but, also people end up in jail for no reasons. So, 1936, FDR rededicated the Statue of Liberty on its 50th anniversary. Nice. That's pretty cool. Then we got a film premiere in 1941, How Green Was My Valley. That's very suggestive. Based on the novel by Richard Llewellyn, directed by John Ford, and starring Walter Pidgeon and Maureen O'Hara, premiered in New York, later to receive the Best Picture of 1942. Okay. In 1954, Nobel Prize for Literature was awarded to Ernest Hemingway. Good. Good writer right there. In 1956, Pope Pius XII published encyclical Luctuosissimi Eventis. Let's take a look at this, actually. You go away. There we go. Urging public prayers for peace and freedom for the people of Hungary. Okay. Like, as I've said before, encyclicals are essentially the Vatican's form of memos. So they're like, oh, this year we're going to focus on this. This year we're going to focus on that. You know, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to add that link into the underbar, the description. Save that. Moving on up into 1958, Angelo Giuseppe Roncalli was elected Pope, taking the name John the 23rd. Okay. We got a theater premiere 1 year later in 1959. Jean Genet's play Les Negres premiered in Paris. Okay. Cuban Missile Crisis, 1962. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, U.S. President JFK received a letter from Soviet leader Khrushchev suggesting agreement. Yeah, the Russians were doing a lot more trying to de-escalate than we were. Tell you that much. You know, like, you know, the more I study history, the more I realize just how in the wrong my side, my country, you know, my people have been in the past. Like, once again, I'm not a Soviet sympathizer by any stretch, but facts are facts, you know. 1965, Pope Paul VI proclaimed Jews not collectively guilty for crucifixion. No, they're not, but they still should apologize for it, you know, in the very least. 1971, John Lennon and Yoko Ono recorded Happy Christmas, the War is Over in New York City. I wonder if it was just a wide variety of sounds, you know. Last time I heard her sing, she literally just, like, in the microphone, like what the fuck is that? Dude, Yoko, you are not talented at all. At all. 1971 as well, the British Parliament debated the European Community's principle of membership and voted 356 to 254 in favor of joining, requiring a new law to be drafted and later a final vote on joining. So that sounds like the whole European Union thing. And I see, yeah, here we go. Europe or bust, so yes, Europe, she has a flag, or she has a shirt of various flags, although it's the same 5 flags repeated over and over. So I see Germany, Ireland, the UK, Switzerland, France, of course. I don't know what this middle one here is, but anyway. Moving on up into 1973, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, designed by architect B.V. Doshi, inaugurated by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Cool. Let's see what this looks like. Let's see. Copy that. Paste that. That looks a little run down to me. Well, okay, like it's a semicircular building. That's cool, but it looks very overgrown. Like it looks very Soviet. The walls are bare concrete. There's nothing there, so yeah, it doesn't look good. Moving on up into 1976, Billy Martin was named American League Manager of the Year for the New York Yankees. Okay. Some more sports history here. 2 years later, in 1978, Bobby Orr scored his last career NHL goal versus the Detroit Red Wings. All right. So, I think we've read about his first one. We've read about several different people, various sports first whatevers. So, whatever the case, this was his last one. So, yeah. 1984. Oh, this girl again. This lady again. 14th New York City Women's Marathon won by Grete Waltz in 2 hours, 29 minutes, and 30 seconds. All right. 1988, Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen gave $10 million to the University of Washington Library. All right. Just whatever it takes to be tax exempt, right? Yeah. You donate money and you can write it off for taxes. Yeah, that's how they launder money. Not to mention all the, all the offshore accounts, stuff like that. Moving on up into 1995, Baseball World Series, the Atlanta Braves defeated Cleveland Indians 1-0 in Game 6 at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium to win their third title. Most valuable player is the Braves' starter Tom Glavine. Okay. Moving on up into the next millennium, in 2001, the indie cult hit Donnie Darko, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, was released. And I've never seen it, so, okay. And we got some more sports history in 2012. U.S. Citizen Serena Williams won her third season-ending tennis title, defeating Maria Shaparova of Russia 6-4, 6-3 in the WTA Championship decider in Istanbul, Turkey. Better known as Constantinople, Eastern Roman Empire. Then we got a historic event here in 2017. Spain's central government imposed direct rule on Catalonia, dismissing its government, and calls for new elections in December. Look at this guy. He actually looks like a dickhead, the way his hair is parted right there. Oh, never mind. That's the guy of Catalonia. I need to learn how to read. I recant my statement about this president of Catalonia, Charles Puigdemont, because I am a full supporter of independence. If a country thinks it can eke it out on its own, let it go. You know, why not? 2018, British Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton finished fourth in the Mexican Grand Prix at Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez to clinch his fifth Formula One World Drivers' Championship. Well, okay. Look at that. He's a walking billboard. What a shill. With his auto art, like whatever that symbol is, what car manufacturer, whatever. Anyway, 2020, just 2 years ago, French President Emmanuel Macron, the guy who set fire to the Notre Dame Cathedral, announced France will enter a new 4-week lockdown October 30th in televised address. Oh, what a surprise. He's locking people down. This guy is a fascist. He's not a president of France. He's a dictator of France. Fascist. So, 2021, Mark Zuckernazi announced Facebook will change its corporate name to Meta amid increased public scrutiny over leaked internal documents. Yep. No better way to avoid, the consequences of your actions than to rename yourself, rebrand. I've talked about this before many times, like the Banana Wars, where a lot of people were essentially slave laborers, for the various farms and whatnot in Central and South America, specifically the banana plantations and whatnot. One of those companies, that existed back then that actually used armed forces to gun down, unarmed, workers, is today known as Dole. Yes, Dole has blood on its hands, very much like how Facebook did with Meta or how Google did with Alphabet. They're just changing the name to redirect, blame, distract people. It's like, oh hey, it wasn't us, it was them. No, it was you. It was you. Anyway, and then 2021 as well, just last year, one of the world's largest floor mosaics unveiled after restoration at Hissam's Palace, 660 to 750 AD, by Palestinian authorities in Jericho, West Bank. Well, that's cool. Let's see here. Hashem's Palace, floor mosaic. Hashem's Palace, floor mosaic. I think that's how you spell it, mosaic. Oh, that's cool. Man, that's trippy. It looks like a well. It's like, that's really trippy. Anyway, before we move on into births and deaths, audience, were there any articles that grabbed your attention more than most? Anything that you wished I had expanded upon? Anything in between the black highlighted articles? There's a lot I missed, but I miss a lot every day, unfortunately. Can't report on everything. But, if this is one thing that should open your eyes, it's just how much history is in every single day. Everything you're seeing here, these are all events that happened on this date, October 28th, throughout all of time on, all of Earth. So, if there's any articles or if there's anything that you want to speak more about, like anything that I didn't talk about that you know of, leave a comment in the comment section. Start a dialogue. Let's keep the ball rolling. Anyway, let's move on into births. Starting in the year 1017, Henry III, Holy Roman Emperor, from 1046 to 56, born in Pfaus Baldfield near Goslar, Saxony, dying in 1056. And then we have Erasmus in 1466, a Dutch humanist and theologian, the praise of folly, born in Rotterdam, Netherlands, dying in 1536. John Lawrence, born on this date in 1754, was an American soldier, diplomat, and abolitionist, born in Charleston, South Carolina, dying in 1782. Then we have Howard Hanson, 1896, a American classical music composer and conductor, Nordic, born in Wahoo, Nebraska. That's where I want to live now, Wahoo. Like, where do you live? Wahoo! Oh, you mean the chocolate milk? No, that's Yahoo. You mean the search engine? No, that's Yahoo! Anyway, we have Jonas Salk, born on this date in 1914, a U.S. medical scientist, created the polio vaccine, born in New York City, New York, dying in 1955. And the previous guy died in 1981, by the way, Howard Hanson. But yeah, so thank you for the polio vaccine. Like, polio scared the hell out of my dad, and it would scare the hell out of me. Like, just seeing kids in those iron lungs, knowing that that's going to be their life forever, just kill me. Fuck that, you know? Anyway, Bowie Kuhn, 1926, an American lawyer, sports administrator, Major League Baseball commissioner, 1969 through 1984, born in Tacoma Park, Maryland, died in 2007. Bernie Ecclestone is 92 today, born in 1930. He is a British business magnate in motorsports impresario, Formula One group, born in St. Peter, South Elmham, England. All right. Then we got Lenny Wilkens, 1937, a U.S. NBA point guard and head coach for the Seattle Supersonics, born in Brooklyn, New York. 85 today. Happy birthday. Then we have Bruce Jenner, 1949, a U.S. athlete, Olympic gold decathlon, 1976, a TV personality keeping up with the Kardashians, and prominent transgender figure, born in Mount Kisco, New York, even though he still has his dingling. Look into that. He has not physically transitioned, only mentally, and this monster is one of the sole perpetrators of all the happenings involving the young kids in what they're doing to themselves, what they're inevitably, their final decisions, all that stuff, because of all the pop culture, of all the influence. Kids are very, very influential. And you take somebody like Bruce Jenner, who is not a hero, he is a monster, causing it. Just absolutely disgusting. Speaking of monsters, we have Bill Gates. How fitting. How absolutely fitting that these two share a birthday. 1955, a U.S. businessman and billionaire, founder and CEO of Microsoft, richest person in the world, born in Seattle, Washington. Yep. And he's also building a nuclear power plant in the Pacific Northwest. A lot of people don't realize that. This other monster here, going around advocating against nuclear power, advocating against fossil fuels, advocating against this, advocating against that. He also owns Monsanto, the world's largest pesticide and chemical manufacturing corporation, as well as, the single largest landowner as far as farmland is concerned in the entire country's history. And, people got to wake up. People have got to wake up. Then we got Mohammed Ahmadinejad, 1956, president of Iran from 2005 to 13, born in Aradan, Iran. And who else do we have? Julia Roberts, 1967, a U.S. actress. Mystic Pizza, Pretty Woman, born in Smyrna, Georgia. Brad Paisley, 1972, a U.S. country singer, Collision of Worlds, Nobody's Fool, born in Glendale, West Virginia. Well, that's weird. We have a Glendale out here in California. And that's a cool hat. I want that hat. It's like a folded cowboy hat or something, like a clamshell of sorts. We have Joaquin Phoenix, 1974, U.S. actor, Gladiator, Walk the Line, and The Master, born in San Juan, Puerto Rico. So he's a Puerto Rican. Well, Puerto Rico is a principality of the U.S., so, yeah. Although they don't have the right to vote. And moving on to the deaths, we have Maxentius, 312, was a Roman emperor from 306 to 312, drowned at the Battle of Milvian Bridge at the age of 34. Oh yeah, this guy. And then he was born in 283. Good old no-nos. We have John Wallis, 1616, English mathematician and cryptographer who introduced infinity as a symbol for, or the sideways 8 as a symbol for infinity. Died at the age of 86. Oh, well, this is the guy who invented the icon for essentially what we are, the Omni Coalition. The Omni is everything, infinity. So, We have John Locke died on the state in 1704. Was an English empiricist, philosopher, influential Enlightenment thinker, and father of liberalism. 2 treatises of government. Died at the age of 72. By the way, John Wallis died in 1703. I think I read it wrong initially. Father of liberalism. Well, I'm going to have to hold my opinion of this guy until I know a little bit more, but that usually is not a good thing. We got Abigail Adams, died on this date in 1818, was the second U.S. First Lady from 1797 through 1801, dying of typhoid fever at the age of 73. That's unfortunate. And Bernard von Bülow, 1929, Chancellor of the German Empire from 1900 through 1909, died at the age of 80. He was born in 1849. And she was born, I think I forgot, she was born in 1744, Abigail Adams. I believe wife of John Adams. Yep, John Quincy Adams, yep. Let's see here. Then we have, who else died on this date? Ted Hughes, 1998. Was an English poet and translator, British Poet Laureate of 1984 through 98, dies at the age of 68, was born in 1930. We have Red Auerbach in 2006, a U.S. Basketball Hall of Fame coach, general manager for the Boston Celtics, 9-time NBA champion, dying of a heart attack at the age of 89. He was born in 1917. We have Trevor Berbick, 1954 through 2006, Jamaican boxer, WBC heavyweight champion 1986, died from fatal blows to the head by his nephew at 52. Oh, that's unfortunate. And I thought my dad had it bad when his daughter karate chopped him right in the Adam's apple. Jeez. Anyway, that appears to be it for the show. Once again, you can check the underbar of the description for any links you may find interesting, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. For your dose of past events daily, we stream every day at 10 in the morning Pacific time. For all of you and all of us, I was Xander, and you are you, and until you catch us tomorrow, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!